welcome to Someone Awesome Games. Good looking people, I am Rob. Now, Blood and Truth is a PlayStation VR exclusive by London Studios. If you ever played VR World, which is still one of my go-to demos for friends who have never played VR or PlayStation VR, then you should remember the London Heist. This was one of my favorite that I played repeatedly. And this, Blood and Truth, is basically an extension upon that. In this, you will play an ex-soldier whose father has recently died and your wealthy family's business is being taken over by some Londoner crime boss. And this is a very heavy story game. There is a lot of sitting around listening to people talking to you, with bursts of action, of course. And the gunplay in this feels great. Provided, of course, you've got your camera set up nicely. It recommends playing seated, so that way you have little issues when you're trying to blast fools and get through levels. But of course, it's up to you. You want to play standing? Go for it. There are sections of stealth. Not stealth in the way that, oh, you got detected, therefore start again. It is if you get detected, you just gun down a bunch of enemies at once instead. So when you're doing these stealth areas, you want to have as little crosstalk between your lives as possible. So you want to get your camera set up nicely, so that way when you're trying to cap headshots and that, it makes it a little bit easier. But the most important part of this game is, of course, the gunplay. And there is a great variety of guns in this. And all of them can be used with two hands to add that little extra immersion. So if you've got a pistol, you can cradle it with your other hand. It's very nice. It adds to the realism and makes you feel like you're doing what you want to do. Speed up a revolver firing. It's cool. You can interact with things like you'd expect. Sometimes your hands might go through things you're trying to pick up. Most of the time you can pick up a bottle. But then that's kind of where the realism goes away, because you throw that bottle, it might float up in the air, fall through the floor, go through a wall, and kind of takes you out of it a little bit. But if you do happen to get invested in the environment, you can hunt down collectibles and find all these new statues and things, and vape pens, and secret targets that you can shoot and unlock points to unlock more attachments for your guns. It's a crazy cool game, but it does suffer from almost Kojima-like long sections of sitting around doing nothing, and they don't even give you things to amuse yourself with while you wait. And that is something the London Heist really nailed, keeping you amused and interested if you're uninvested in the story. VR Worlds really set a nice bar for games of this style, but if you're not sold on the narrative, you'll be impatient and you'll just be waiting for the section where you can actually use your guns and interact with things again. Once you do get into a section where you're running and gunning, it doesn't have full locomotion controls. You've got to look in an area, and if a little arrow comes up, you push a button, and your guy he has no legs, so it kind of just floats over there. And if you're like me, you might only be able to play this game in short bursts, or you have your day ruined by the VR motion sickness. Well, I loved London Heist in the VR worlds. That was mostly stationary. You solve little puzzles and you shoot things. This game didn't really have that. It had long bouts of being talked at, and then a lot of picking locks, twisting screws, and almost not enough gun action for my taste, which is weird because it's basically like an action movie and a lot of cool things happen in it, but you never feel like they're a direct result of what you're doing in the world. It's fun to shoot guns, but I needed more.